Welcome to the 2018-19 school year. I'm Brad Jadarski, the Oshkosh West Activities Coordinator, and I'll be narrating you through the online coaches meeting presentation. For this presentation, you should have a copy of the district's high school coaches manual, which is red in color this year, as well as a copy of either the fall, winter, or spring coaches meeting notes that were provided to you as a paid coach. Again, on behalf of the Oshkosh West administration and athletic department, our sincere thanks to you for being involved as a coach regarding the experience our student athletes and parents receive here at Oshkosh West High School. We extremely appreciate the said dedication, sacrifice, and time commitment you put into your program to make it the best possible experience for all involved. To begin with, I'd like to talk a little bit about athletic training information here at Oshkosh West. As a paid coach, you should have a copy of our emergency response plan. Our athletic trainer is Tyler Van Sistine, and working with him, the emergency response plan has been put in place to help you not have to think in the event of a medical emergency. The expectation of all paid coaches is that you have a copy of the plan with you at all times. You reviewed it, talked to your staff about possibly assigning different roles in the event of an emergency. Again, the district's number one priority regarding athletic programs here in the district is student safety. Therefore, if you ever have a question regarding anything at all regarding the emergency response plan or anything else regarding student safety, please direct those questions to myself or to our trainer, Tyler. You have been provided with a link from the WIAA for information regarding heat and lightning. Again, depending on what season you coach in, heat and or lightning could both be a factor. If you compete outdoors, make sure you are aware of the WIAA and National High School Federation requirements regarding lightning, specifically when you should suspend practice and or competition in the event of lightning in the area. Also, the temperature can get warm both in the fall and spring, and there is specific information from the WIAA regarding heat and the heat index. Please be aware, student safety, as I mentioned before, is priority one. And if you have any questions regarding the information, please let me know. You will also be provided a link from the WIAA with information regarding nutrition. Again, please feel free to share that information as you deem appropriate with the student athletes in your program. As a paid coach and as an athletic department, we ask parents and student athletes to make us aware of any pre-existing medical conditions they have. Specifically for coaches, you have pink emergency cards. The expectation is that you hand one out to each of your student athletes and you carry those cards with you at all times. These cards authorize you to provide emergency medical treatment in the event a student athlete needs that treatment. The student athletes and parents also fill out an emergency response form on the back of our Agreement of Parent and Athlete form. A copy of any medical condition is provided to Trainer Tyler as well. Again, if you have any questions at all about a medical condition regarding a student athlete in your program, or you're uncomfortable regarding how to maybe deal with that type of situation if it arises, please let me know and we will provide you with additional resources and or training through the athletic department and or school nurse's office to help you be prepared in the event of a medical emergency. Also, our athletic training room is located or connected to our weight room down in the main and new gym area. Like I said, Tyler Van Sistine is our athletic trainer. He provides coverage after school hours, beginning about 3 o'clock, and he provides coverage at many of our athletic events. If Tyler is not there, another athletic trainer for many of our sports that have a high probability of a potential injury will be provided. Also, please remember the district's and West's philosophy regarding athletic training. Specifically, athletic trainers deal with training issues only, and coaches coach. Thank you for all you do keeping our student athletes safe here at Oshkosh West High School. As an athletic department a number of years ago, we created a vision statement and set of core values to help guide us in all of our decisions regarding our athletic programs. Specifically, our vision statement is as follows: to educate, inspire, and shape the next generation of leaders through commitment, competition, and service to the team, our school, and our community. Again, our vision statement and core values drive all of the decisions that we make regarding athletic participation here at Oshkosh West High School. The athletic department here at West has 5 core values. We expect our coaches to model these core values, and we also expect our student athletes to do so as well. We want our coaches to utilize this terminology and or words as much as possible throughout the course of each and every season so that our student athletes are fully aware of what those core values are no matter which athletic program they participate in here at Oshkosh West. Number 1, do the right thing. Integrity and honesty in thoughts, actions, and words. 2, strive for greatness. Excellence in academics, athletics, and character. 3, lead with a purpose. Selfless commitment to team goals. 4, promote the Wildcat culture. Pride in self, team, and school. And 5, raise the bar. Inspire others to be the best. Our year-end student athlete feedback form basically asks all of our questions are in relation to our core values, wanting to know specifically if we're meeting these core values in each program they participate. So as I mentioned before, our expectation of coaches is that you model these core values, use the terminology throughout the course of your seasons. As a paid coach, you've also been shared a link to a curriculum file that has been developed by a committee of coaches here at Oshkosh West. The curriculum file contains lessons, documents, and other resources you can use throughout your seasons to help teach each and every one of these core values. We hope you find the time during your season to spend working and emphasizing lessons related to these core values. Also, feel free to add to that curriculum file at any time to help benefit not only other student athletes but other coaches here at Oshkosh West High School. We have one significant change regarding the OASD co-curricular handbook for student athletes and parents for the 2018-19 school year. Specifically, new language is added regarding felonies. In a nutshell, the new language is as follows. If a student athlete is convicted and or charged with a felony, the district reserves the right to potentially remove their ability to participate in any co-curricular offering for the remainder of their high school career. Again, we hope we never have to invoke this clause, but if a student athlete is convicted or charged with a felony, this new language will apply. At this time, I'm going to ask for you to grab your red OASD High School Coaches Manual, as we're going to go through a few of the more important areas of the handbook. But first, I want to make you aware of a new change from the district regarding all paid coaches. Specifically, you must sign off on receiving the district's coaches handbook. There'll be a one-page document that'll ask for your signature and mine, and it indicates the following. The Oshkosh Area School District expects all coaches to uphold the honor and dignity of the education and coaching profession. In all personal contact with the student athlete, officials, athletic directors, school administrators, the State High School Association, the media, and the public, the coach shall strive to set an example of the highest ethical and moral conduct. The coach will strive to model behavior expected of our athletes as stated in the OASD co-curricular handbook, which includes the use of profanity and unsportsmanlike conduct. By signing below, you acknowledge that you have received and read/understand the coach's handbook, required training, rules and regulations set forth by the Oshkosh Area School District and the WIAA. Failure to adhere to the rules and expectations will lead to disciplinary actions or termination of coaching position. Again, something new this year that all paid coaches will be required to submit. Now, regarding the coach's handbook, I want to make you aware that paid coaches, volunteer coaches, any coach at all is responsible for all of the material found in the handbook. If you have a question at all regarding anything found in the handbook, please let me know, as I am here to help. If you open the coach's handbook, you'll notice at the beginning a table of contents to help emphasize more of the important areas found within the handbook. The area I'd like to start with is found on page 11 and goes through pages 14. It's the 14 duties related to negligence litigation. Again, these standards have evolved as a result of various case law proceedings and legal judgment against individuals and school districts. These 14 duties are: 1. The duty to plan. This is a comprehensive requirement that transcends all other duties and is often cited in conjunction with other duties allegedly performed improperly or not performed at all. Inherent in this duty is the need to continually conduct focused analysis and to develop responsive strategies that prevent or reduce injury and loss in the following areas: coaching competence, medical screening, appropriate activities that consider age, maturity, environmental conditions, facility and equipment evaluation and improvement, injury response, warnings to athletes and their families, insurance of athletes, child advocacy in cases of alcohol and other drug abuse or family neglect or abuse. 2. Duty to supervise, one of the most important areas of all found within this in the 14 duties. A coach must be physically present, provide competent instruction, structure practices that are appropriate for the age and maturity of players, prevent foreseeable injuries, and respond to injury or trauma in an approved manner. This duty requires supervisors to ensure that facilities are locked and that students are denied access when a competent staff member cannot be physically present to supervise. So again, as a coach, you need to make sure you're the first one at practice and the last one to leave. At away events, make sure you are the last one to leave after the last student athlete is picked up. When student athletes are in the locker room, please make sure a coach is available in the coach's office in the event that there's an emergency at all times. When you're on a school bus, I would highly encourage you to do spot checks walking up from the front to the back of the bus once or more times during the course of the away event to let the student athletes know you are supervising them at all times. 3. Duty to assess athletes' readiness for practice and competition. Again, we have medical and physical requirements as provided by both the district and the WIAA. Duty to maintain safe playing conditions. Please, if anything at all regarding your playing area, surface, field, court, etc. is found, please make me aware ASAP so that we can address that safety need. Duty to provide proper equipment. Please make sure that all equipment that the district provides meets current National Federation of High School standards, and or if any students provide their own equipment, that it does so as well. Duty to instruct properly. Athletic practices must be characterized by instruction that accounts for a logical sequence of fundamentals that lead to an enhanced progression of player knowledge, skill, and capacity. Please keep a copy of all practice plans in a file. Each and every day of practice, you should have a written practice plan. Keep those on file for up to 4 school years. Duty to match athletes. Athletes should be matched with consideration for maturity, skill, age, size, and speed. When you're working in practice groups, please make sure you match athletes appropriately. Don't put the biggest athlete with the smallest athlete in a potential drill. Duty to condition properly. Practices must account for a progression of cardiovascular and musculoskeletal conditioning regimes that prepare athletes sequentially for more challenging practices and competitive activities. Consideration must be given to weather, maturational, and readiness factors. Again, the first day of practice is not the time to have athletes run 3 or 4 miles. Duty to warn. Coaches are required to warn parents and athletes of unsafe practices specific to a sport and the potential for injury or death. Again, this is a very broad area, but think of it like this. What inherent risks are there in your particular sports program that your athletes and parents need to know? As an example, in cross country, if the student athletes are running on the roads, we should be reminding athletes to look both ways before they cross the road. Remind them to run only on sidewalks. Beware or stay away from areas that maybe have beware of dog signs. In football, coaches should probably videotape the day they read the sticker on the helmet about the warning regarding tackling. Also, if you're doing a skill that is inherently dangerous or teaching it during a practice, a good idea to record the different steps that you talked about to the student athletes regarding that skill. For example, regarding tackling, I would highly encourage your football coaches to record their lesson that day regarding teaching proper tackling technique. 10. Duty to ensure athletes are covered by injury insurance. 11. Duty to provide emergency care. Again, all paid coaches must be CPR, AED, and first aid certified, and we also have an athletic trainer present at many of our athletic events. Duty to develop an emergency response. plan, which is specific to athletics. You have a copy of that. Please carry it with you. Read it. Be familiar with it. 13, do you provide proper transportation? Again, the school district will be providing transportation either via bus or vans for all athletic competitions except those that fall within the city limits. And 14, the duty select, trains, and supervise coaches. Again, we encourage you, if you want to attend in a coach's clinic or seminar, please let me know and we will do what we can to find the means for you to be able to do that. Again, please be aware, read, and be familiar with the 14 duties related to negligence litigation. Next area I want to mention is on page 23 of the Coach's Handbook regarding open gyms. The scheduling of open gyms shall meet all requirements presented by the WIAA, and these requirements are found in the rules at a glance in the back of the Coach's Handbook. Again, I'll cover that a little bit later in this video. Also, the district understands that students may want to participate in club athletic programs during the school year during their high school sports season. As a result of this, the athletic departments would like to provide some guidance for parents and athletes concerning this issue due to the financial commitment associated with club athletic programs. The athletic departments have adopted the following policy for students and parents concerning club athletic programs during a high school students' sports season. Regarding varsity athletes, if a student is on a varsity high school team, the head coach will determine whether or not students will be allowed to practice or participate in a club athletic program during their varsity high school season. If a coach's position is no club athletic participation during the varsity high school season, it is based on the premise that a student's loyalty and allegiance should be to the high school team. For non-varsity athletes, if a student is on a JV or freshman high school team, students will be allowed to participate in club athletic programs during their JV or freshman high school season with the following stipulations. 1. The student and parents need to inform the coach about their intention as soon as possible. And 2. Students will not be allowed to miss a high school scheduled practice or competition for a club athletic practice or competition. Coaches, it is imperative that you be consistent in the application of these policies with all student athletes in your program, both varsity and non-varsity. Also, note the following WIAA rule concerning non-school participation. It is the philosophy of the WIAA that a student owes loyalty and allegiance to the school team of which he or she is a member during the season of a given sport. However, a student athlete with school approval, meaning ahead of time, is allowed to participate in up to 2 non-school contests during the regular season, again, regular season, in the same sport in the same season. The district's philosophy is we will deal with these situations on a case-by-case basis. Again, this rule is regarding being the same sport during the high school season. This time I'm going to ask you to flip ahead to page 32 of the Coach's Handbook. On this page are listed the responsibilities and duties of all coaches on page 32 and 33. Again, be familiar with all items 1 through 16. I'd like to emphasize a few in particular. 2. A coach's responsibility with his or her athletes begins when the athlete enters the locker room and ends when the athlete leaves the building after the completion of the contest or practice. 4. Each coach shall completely familiarize himself or herself with the WIAA official handbook, the Oshkosh Area School District Co-Curricular Handbook, this coach's manual, and FEA bylaws as they pertain to the coach's sport. 5. Each coach shall acquaint his or her athletes with the rules and regulations of the WIAA and the Oshkosh Area School District. Remember, you are considered the expert regarding rules and regulations for your sport. 6. Each coach shall, when learning of an alleged code violation by an athlete, inform the activities coordinator and take appropriate action. 14. All paid coaches must be CPR, AED, and first aid certified. 15. All paid coaches must complete the State of Wisconsin Child Abuse and Neglect online training. And 16. All coaches must complete the WI rules exam and watch the rules video online for their particular sport. That's all coaches, both paid and volunteer. On page 34 are the responsibilities and duties of the head coach. Again, if you're a head coach, make sure you are aware and are following numbers 1 through 15. A couple I'd like to emphasize in particular. 2, the head coach shall submit to the activities coordinator the varsity letter criteria for your sport. Again, you must and should be sharing that information with the parents and student athletes of your program. Number 10, the head coach shall follow the procedures spelled out concerning building safety and security of athletes. Specifically, coaches should not be propping doors open at any time at all during any activities both inside your season and or outside. We need to make sure our building is secure at all times. On pages 35 and 36 are the coach's code of ethics. Again, you must read each and every one of those areas found below the coach's code of ethics, and we expect our coaches to model and live these coach of ethics. A couple I'd like to mention in particular. 1, the coach shall be aware that he or she has tremendous influence, either good or bad, in the education of the student athlete, and thus shall never place the value of winning above the value of instilling the highest ideals of character. 2, the coach must constantly uphold the honor and dignity of the profession. In all personal contact with the student athlete, officials, athletic directors, school administrators, the State High School Association, the media, and the public, the coach shall strive to set an example of the highest ethical and moral conduct. The coach will strive to model behavior expected of our athletes as stated in the OASD Co-Curricular Handbook, which includes the use of profanity and unsportsmanlike conduct. 3, the coach shall take an active role in the implementation of the OASD Athletic Code and under no circumstances, when learning of a violation, not report it. 4, the coach shall promote the entire school's interscholastic athletic program and direct his or her program in harmony with the total school program. 6, the coach shall be thoroughly acquainted with the contest rules and is responsible for their interpretation to team members. The spirit and letter of the rules shall be regarded as mutual agreements. The coach shall not try to seek an advantage by circumvention of the spirit or letter of the rules. 6, the coach shall actively use his or her influence to enhance sportsmanship by spectators, working closely with booster clubs, spirit groups, and administrators. 7, the coach shall respect contest officials. The coach shall not indulge in conduct which will incite players or spectators against contest officials. Public criticism of officials or players is unethical. 8, the coach shall meet rival coaches before and after the contest and exchange friendly greetings to set the correct tone for the event. And 9, the coach shall not exert pressure on faculty members to give student athletes special consideration. Again, questions about anything at all regarding those areas found in the coach's code of ethics, please let me know. I'm also going to talk about some of the appendices found in the coach's handbook. The first is the WIAA High School Rules at a Glance. This is an extremely important and informative document. It's basically the cheat sheet of the overall rules regarding what is required in order to participate in athletics as a member school in the state association. So again, please read each and every area found in the coach's rules at a glance, and if you have questions about anything at all, please let me know. A couple areas I'd like to point out in particular. 1, coaches and coaching contact. Coaches may not have coaching contact with any athletes they will be coaching the following school season during restricted times, except their own children. There is no distinction between varsity and JV coaches. For example, JV coaches cannot coach varsity athletes during restricted times and vice versa, nor any distinction between paid and non-paid, including volunteer coaches. An exception is that varsity and JV coaches can have coaching contact with students who have just completed 8th grade or any preceding grade up until these 8th graders actually start their 9th grade year. Please note, coaches may not mandate athletes participate in non-school competition or determine who may or may not participate in non-school activity. 2, require involvement in out-of-season activities as part of the requirements for making a school team, earning a school letter, etc. 3, provide incentives such as t-shirts for participation in the off-season. A school coach must always be present when an athlete is participating in interscholastic competition. D, open gyms. On page 2 of the rules at a glance. Coaches in schools cannot be involved in out-of-season practice for athletes. However, open gyms do not violate WIA rules if they are conducted according to the following guidelines. 1. The open gym is made known and available to all students in the designated population of that school that are interested in attending. Open gyms may be gender specific. It is also acceptable to include people from the community. Schools may conduct open gyms in any activity. It is not acceptable to include athletes from another school, public or private, and middle school students are not allowed to attend high school open gyms. 2. There is no instruction during the open gym by a coach or anyone else. 3. Coaches may supervise open gyms, but they may not instruct, organize drills, etc. Coaches can also recreate with students in school-sponsored open gym settings that are purely recreational in nature. For example, there is no instruction, sports skill demonstration, organized drills, or resemblance of a practice being conducted. 4. There is no organized competition such as established teams participating in round-robin competition. Finally, open gym is not a code word for out-of-season practice. Regarding section F, who may participate interscholastically, please note number 6. All transfer students should be initially treated as ineligible athletes until the athletic director at the receiving school has had the opportunity to completely check all aspects of athletic eligibility. If you have a student athlete join your program that you know was not in our school last school year or last season, please make sure I am aware that that student is out for your program so we can make sure they are eligible. Also, regarding who may participate, only student athletes cleared by the athletic office to start practice are allowed to practice. And again, anytime you have a new student athlete join your team or want to join your team, they are not allowed to begin practice until they are cleared by the athletic office. Also, if a student athlete quits your team during the season, please let me know as well as soon as possible so that we can update our information with the school office regarding early dismissals and other areas pertinent to keeping rosters accurate. Letter G, consecutive days of practice or competition. A team must take 1 day off from all physical activity after 6 consecutive days of practice competition. This includes weightlifting as an example for your team. Teams may schedule non-physical activities such as film review, scouting, etc. during this off day. So basically, your week starts on Sunday and runs through Saturday each and every week of your season. So once from that Sunday to Saturday, you must have a day off. Your day off will stay the same each and every week until you take 2 days off in a particular week. Also, if you wish to have an open gym during that week, that is allowable as long as it is scheduled ahead of time with the athletic department and it is open and available to all student athletes. Again, questions at all regarding that, please let me know. On the back or final page of the rules at a glance, letter C, amateur status. A student may not accept, receive, and or direct to another reimbursement in any form of salary, cash, or share of game or season proceeds for athletic accomplishments, such as being on a winning team, being selected for the school varsity team, or being a place winner in an individual tournament. A student may receive school mementos valued not more than $200, an award valued no more than $100 retail, and may retain non-school competition apparel worn by the student as part of the team uniform. Rules further prevent athletes from receiving compensation or benefit directly or indirectly for the use of name, picture, and or personal appearance as an athlete because of ability, potential, and or performance as an athlete. Athletes may not receive free or reduced rates on equipment, apparel, camps, clinics, instruction, and competitive opportunities that are not identical for any and all interested students. A good example is a student out for track or cross country could not get a discount on shoes just because they're a student athlete. That same discount would have to be available to any other high school student that wanted to purchase that exact pair of shoes or any other similar piece of apparel or item. A student may not be identified as an athlete, provide endorsement as an athlete, or appear as an athlete in the promotion of a commercial advertisement and or profit-making event, item, plan, or service. Also, an athlete violates this rule if he or she plays in any contest, school or non-school, under a name other than his or her own. Again, if you have any question at all regarding amateur status that is directed to you by a parent or student athlete, or you have yourself, please let me know. I always tell student athletes not to take anything at all, not to let their name, likeness, or picture be used in anything at all without checking first. Letter D, non-school participation. WA rules do not prevent athletes from practicing with non-school teams or from receiving private skills instruction during the school season. Rules indicate athletes may not participate in more than 2 non-school competitions during the school season in the same respective sport with school approval. That's regular season only. Non-school competitions include races, scrimmages against other teams, normal non-school games, gimmicks, such as reduced numbers competition, as 3-on-3 basketball, 6-player soccer, etc., fun runs, including banditing. During the season, athletes may participate in skills contests with approval of the school. Specific skills contests, punt, pass, and kick, shooting contests such as free throw, three-point drive, chip, and putt, isolate separate skills outside of the traditional competition setting. The skill contest may not include physical contact or extreme fatigue as the actual sport competition. Fun runs are not considered skills contests. There can be no school coach involvement. All other eligibility rules, including amateur status, apply. Additionally, a student who is a member of a school team during the previous year may not delay reporting for the school team beyond the school's official opening day of practice in order to continue non-school training or competition. All-Star contests. Athletes with remaining high school eligibility may not participate in all-star contests. During the school year, a school, including its administrators, athletic director, and coaches, shall not become involved directly or indirectly with any kind of all-star or similar contest that involves students with remaining eligibility. An all-star team is one where participants are chosen on the basis of individual accomplishment or reputation. An underclassman becomes ineligible in a sport for a maximum of 1 year from the date of last offense for participation in an all-star game or similar activity. A senior who violates this rule forfeits all remaining high school eligibility in the same specific sport as the all-star event. Violation of this rule results in loss of eligibility for the remainder of the season. Also regarding expenses, training, and competition. 1. The WIAA recognizes a distinction between training and competition. Students must pay 100% of their own expenses, including transportation. 2. Any non-school camps, clinics, or specialized training. Schools may pay expenses and provide transportation to similar in-season activities in that sport and during unrestricted contact days in the summer. 2. A student may be reimbursed actual and necessary costs associated with competition. This may include transportation, food, lodging, and entry fees. 3. A school may not become involved financially through transportation or in any way in a student's non-school participation outside the sports season and the 5 Board of Control approved contact days, which are considered unrestricted in the summer. Note, funds kept in school activity accounts are considered non-school funds. So again, if you have any questions at all regarding the rules of eligibility or rules at a glance, please let me know. The next appendice is the High School Eligibility Bulletin from the WIAA. Again, a very informative and helpful document. I encourage you to read it as well. Again, anytime you have a transfer student, please note restrictions can be placed on eligibility to participate. So, specifically, if a student transfers after their 6th consecutive semester, there may be a restriction placed on eligibility. And any transfer student that is new to your program, please be sure you have made me aware of that, and I have let you know of their eligibility status before they are allowed to begin to practice. On the last page of the eligibility bulletin, just want to emphasize a particular area. Or just one more thing on the back under letter C, a student athlete or his or her parents must pay 100% of the fee for specialized training or instruction, such as camps, clinics, and similar programs. So again, please be aware of that. The next appendix is the WIAA Performance Enhancing and Banned Substance List. Please note the WIAA is against the use of anabolic, androgenic steroids, and other performance-enhancing substances. Banned substances are drugs that are illegal or could be harmful if taken in excess amount. Possession and/or use violates the WIAA code. Again, there is no complete list of banned substances, and if a question is directed to you, please have that parent student athlete see me. Now, if a student athlete is taking a banned substance due to it being legally prescribed by a medical professional, that will be considered allowable. Regarding discouraged substances, possession and/or use may violate school district policy or code. As a rule, we, as a school or coach or athletic department, shall not be promoting discouraged substances found under this discouraged category. There's also a document or a handout for you in the next section of the manual regarding WIAA eligibility information for both you as a coach to help protect the eligibility of our athletes, and also information for our athletes. The school district does have a policy regarding fundraising. It is policy 5830. Please make sure you are familiar with the school district's expectations regarding fundraising. And on the back side of policy 5830 is the district's form that is required to be filled out before any fundraiser begins. Please fill out those boxes and turn the form in to me prior to beginning any fundraiser. There's also information that follows in Exhibit F and C, which is front to back, regarding blood or body fluids, regarding an exposure to blood or bodily fluids. Again, if this happens to you, please make sure to fill out the two forms found in the coach's manual, turn those into me immediately so that we do what we can to make sure you are protected and safe at all times. Again, if you have to deal with an exposure to blood or bodily fluids, your first course of action, if possible, is to contact one of our custodial staff, as they are trained in how to remove those types of substances. The next document, 378 Exhibit A, is the district's non-school or non-use of school-provided transportation form. While it is the school district's expectation that students utilize school-provided transportation, it is the school district's policy that a student who travels to a school-sponsored field trip or extracurricular activity must travel on transportation provided by the school district. The only exception to this rule is if a student's parent is present at the activity, he or she may request the student return with the parent. This request must be made in person by the parent to the coach, advisor, or staff member. Basically, so at an out-of-town away event or location at a different school within the city limits, a parent may request to take their child home with them. That request must be made to you as a coach in person. They must sign this form as well. They are allowed to take their child and their child only. It must be the student's parent and or legal guardian. Cannot be a grandparent, cannot be an aunt or uncle. The parent cannot take the child, their neighbor. I know it's a very restrictive policy, but it is the district's policy. Again, as a coach, make multiple copies of this form. If you need copies, I'd be happy to make them for you. Let me know. You should utilize one form for each athletic event and turn those into me as soon as possible. The next section found in the coach's manual is information from the National Federation of High Schools and the WIAA regarding concussions in sport participation. The first document is a fact sheet for coaches. Here's the information regarding concussions. A concussion is a brain injury. All concussions are serious. Most concussions occur without loss of consciousness. Concussions can occur in any sport. Recognition and proper management of concussions when they first occur can help prevent further injury or even death. The policy we expect all of our coaches to follow is, when in doubt, hold a student athlete out. Meaning, if you have any doubt at all a student athlete has a concussion, hold them out, refer them to the athletic trainer for further evaluation. Many of our high concussion impact sports take a pre-concussion test, which is called the impact test. If your sport is one of those sports, our trainer Tyler will be contacting you to set up a time for that test to be taken. As a member of the coaching staff, please look for the signs and or symptoms that you may see and observe or may be reported to you by an athlete. Do they appear dazed or stunned? Is the athlete confused? Do they forget specific plays or responsibilities? Are they unsure of the game, score, or opponent? Do they move clumsily? Do they answer questions slowly? Was there a loss of consciousness, even briefly? Do they show behavior or personality changes? Is the athlete unable to recall events prior to the hit or fall? Is the athlete unable or can't recall events after the hit or fall? Some symptoms that may be reported by the athlete: headache or pressure in the head, nausea or vomiting, balance problems or dizziness, double or blurry vision, a sensitivity to light or noise, a feeling of sluggishness, hazy, foggy, or grogginess, concentration or memory problems, confusion, or the athlete just doesn't feel right. As an athletic coach, it is your responsibility to remove an athlete from the youth athletic activity if you determine the athlete exhibits signs, symptoms, or behavior consistent with a concussion, or if you suspect the athlete has sustained a concussion. The athlete then needs to be evaluated by a healthcare provider to determine if he or she sustained a concussion. An athlete who has been removed because of a suspected concussion may not participate again until he or she is evaluated by a healthcare provider, is symptom-free, and has been provided written clearance to participate from a qualified healthcare provider. Also, once the athlete returns or is cleared to return to practice, there will be a logical progression before they return to full participation. Again, your athletic trainer will be your contact. Again, in all cases as a coach, you are instructed, when in doubt, if a student athlete has sustained or may have a concussion, hold them out. As a coach, and again, this is found in this fact sheet for coaches document on the third page, you play a key role in preventing concussions and responding to them properly when they occur. Here are some steps you can take to ensure the best outcome for your athletes and the team. 1. Educate athletes and parents about concussions. Spend time talking about it throughout your season. 2. Insist safety comes first. Teach athletes safe playing techniques and encourage them to follow the rules of play. Make sure all athletes wear the right protective equipment for their activity, and it should fit properly, be maintained, and be worn consistently and correctly. Teach athletes and parents that it's not smart to play with a concussion. Help prevent long-term problems. A repeat concussion that occurs before the brain recovers from the first can slow recovery or increase the likelihood of having long-term problems. So, regarding an action plan, what should a coach do when a concussion is suspected? 1. Remove the athlete from play. 2. Ensure the athlete is evaluated by a trained healthcare provider. 3. Inform the athlete's parents or guardians about the possible concussion. And 4. An athlete who has been removed from any youth athletic activity because of a determined or suspected concussion may not participate again until he or she is evaluated by a healthcare provider, is symptom-free, and provides written clearance from a healthcare provider to return to the activity. Again, when in doubt, sit them out. As you page through, again, the next sections of the coach's manual, you'll see information about concussion and school performance, information regarding a parent's or guardian's guide to concussion as well. Again, these resources are provided to you so that you have the same information that our parents and student athletes do. I now want to talk a little bit about the next section found in the handbook, and that is what is hazing from the National Federation of High Schools. The National Federation defines hazing as any humiliating or dangerous activity expected of a student to belong to a group regardless of their willingness to participate. Hazing and harassment are illegal and are not tolerated at Oshkosh West. You as a coach set the tone. Have conversations with your teams throughout the course of your seasons, with your captains, about the need to report any activity or behavior that could be considered hazing or bullying. Again, these actions or behaviors are illegal, inappropriate, and not tolerated at Oshkosh West High School. As a coach, if you have any doubt at all about a behavior or an action potentially being considered hazing or bullying, put a stop to it. Use it as a teachable moment And anything that happens, please report it to school administration immediately so we can deal with it ASAP. Again, thanks for all you do keeping our student athletes safe. The next section in the Coach's Handbook is information from the National Federation with a policy for managing heat and humidity regarding the heat index. Again, please be aware of those sections. And also a position statement with recommendations for maintaining hydration to optimize performance and minimize the risk for exertional heat illness for student athletes. And the final section in the Coach's Handbook, again, is just a resource that we provide to our parents, which is a positive sport parenting parent self-assessment test, and then how to score the self-assessment results. Again, that is just provided to our parents, but is also being provided to you so that you have the same information they do. Finally, on the back of the Coach's Handbook is a website for the Fox Valley Association that you should bookmark that contains information regarding all of our programs that our conference offers, and also the foxvalleyassociation.org website, which is a great tool for coaches, parents, and students to be able to print schedules and sign up for free schedule changings when they occur under the Notify Me link. And finally, feasports.net is our conference website. I also am on Twitter during the course of the school year at OWHS Activities. I encourage you to follow me on Twitter. Some other topics to be aware of, and again, now I'm going to refer you to the sport season specific handout for either fall, winter, or spring coaches. We've covered 1, under athletic training information, 2, about new language found in the co-curricular handbook. 3, I've covered those areas found within the Coach's Handbook. Now under 4 other topics, again, you have received an email link to the WIA, your schedule and your season and tournament regulations. It is expected that you are the expert regarding the rules and regulations found in your sport. So please be familiar with those rules and regulations and also your tournament regulations. Also, I highly encourage you to look and be familiar with all the WIA rules as found on their website, but also specifically the rules at a glance section. It's a very helpful document. You were also emailed a link to your schedules. Please double check the number of contests and take a look at the WIAA season maximum charts that were sent to you. I want another set of eyes looking at your schedules to make sure we have not scheduled more than the maximum allowable number of contests in your sport. If so, let me know immediately. Again, all coaches, both paid and volunteer, are required to complete the sport code video for your sport as well as the rules exam. The rules exam could be completed together, meaning print one hard copy of the questions, answer it, and provide a copy to the other coaches so they can fill out the answers when they get online and take their rules exam. All transportation requests should be emailed to me listing the date of your bus time or van time, your location, and departure time. Again, those requests should be emailed to me. You've also received information from me already or will shortly thereafter regarding the district's policy regarding transportation, specifically for parents requesting to take their child with them after an athletic event. If you have a student with a disability that wants to participate or is participating on your team, please make me aware ASAP so that we can make sure we meet all modifications and/or adjustments that would be needed for them to participate. Regarding volunteer coaches, all volunteer coaches must have gone through a background check by the district. It's an online process I do via email now. Also, so I will need their name and email address. Again, all volunteer coaches will have to complete the WIA rules exam for the sport they are volunteering with, as well as the sport video quiz. And finally, all volunteer coaches will also have to turn in a signed concussion acknowledgement form. Regarding student-athlete practice clearance, a reminder, no student-athlete is cleared to practice unless they are cleared by the athletic department. All paperwork that a student-athlete turns in should be turned into the athletic office. If they turn it into you, assume they are ineligible until they receive written notification from me to turn in to you. So have them turn in all paperwork to me. Again, regarding transfers, as previously mentioned in this video, any transfer student is considered ineligible until cleared by the athletic department. And again, please make sure you inform me of any transfer student or any student that joins your squad later throughout the course of the season so I can make sure they are cleared to begin practice and eligible to participate. The same applies to any foreign exchange students. They should be referred to me for clearance and are considered ineligible until cleared by the athletic office. You should have received a copy of the FEA sport code for the sport you participate in or coach. Please be sure you read the sport code and are familiar with all the rules and regulations from the Fox Valley Association regarding the sport you are a coach of. If you're a head coach, you should have also received a copy of the FEA bylaws. Rosters. If you are a coach of a program that we put together a roster for, you will be emailed a copy of last year's roster. We will ask that you update the information for this year and email it to me so we can then make that available to our other conference schools and fans. For head coaches only, you will or have received an email from me regarding our evaluation process. There is a preseason and end of season meeting component of our evaluation. So please get those preseason meeting dates scheduled with me as soon as possible. I will follow up with you later regarding your end of season meeting. Regarding any Wednesday practice, all practices on all Wednesdays must end by 6 p.m., no exceptions. If a student has a religious education requirement on a Wednesday or any day during the week where we have practice, please excuse them without consequence all of the time. Also, any Sunday practices must be cleared by the athletic director and principal, and no Sunday practices will be allowed to start any earlier than noon. All paid coaches must be CPR, AED, and first aid certified. If you are not and are a paid coach, please email me or let me know immediately and we will set up that training for you. All paid coaches must complete State of Wisconsin child abuse and neglect training once every 5 years. If you are a non-staff coach, this information will be sent to you in an email. All coaches must complete the bloodborne pathogen quiz by the district. Again, if you're a non-staff coach, that information will be sent to you via an email. And all district coaches must complete the district's policy quiz. Again, non-staff coaches will be emailed that information from me. All year-end awards programs will be set and determined based on what date works best for your program. So as a head coach, you will be emailing that information to me. I will ask for that information as soon as you have the date, and please plan on providing me at least a week to get all of your awards compiled, ordered, and ready to go. Each sport should have a Booster Club sport rep for their program. Head coaches, you should be recruiting parents to serve as that role. I also encourage you to look, if you're a large sport, meaning with lots of numbers, that maybe have 2 sport reps so that you have a natural transition when the one leaves, that the other one is fully trained in the expectations needed to be that sport rep. The Booster Club meets the first Wednesday of each month at 6:30 in the O room. The expectation of the Booster Club is that every sport have a coach, preferably the head, but if not, another designee by the head, and a Booster Club sport rep at each of the meetings to be fully aware of all the things happening and going on in the Booster Club. Also, a reminder, with our later start time and end time for the school day, a number of you will have multiple early dismissals due to athletic competition. In those particular cases, we encourage you to have your student athletes talk to their teachers as soon as possible about any or all class time that they may miss. Some final other topics. Again, things coaches must do. All coaches, both paid and volunteer, must turn in a signed concussion acknowledgement form. All paid coaches must turn in a signed coach's video form that was provided to you in one of your packets, meaning you've watched the video, signed off that you've done so, and if you have any questions, have asked. 3, all paid coaches must turn in a signed coach's acknowledgement of receiving the Oshkosh Area School District Coaches Handbook. That's new this year. And please review the expectation for Oshkosh West student athletes, parents, coaches, and administrators as found on the coach's video form. That is the 2-page document. There's front to back on page 1 and page 2 that lists all of the things that have been covered in this online video. Basically, our athletic training information, new changes regarding the co-curricular handbook, the Oshkosh Area School District Coaches Handbook, other topics, and then the expectations for coaches, administrators, parents, and student athletes. So, regarding expectations for coaches, 1, we expect all coaches to be a positive role model and ambassador for West High School with the following bullets below. 2, all coaches will live the Oshkosh West Athletic Department vision statement, core values, and Wildcat Creed. 3, you will work with your athletes to create goals for your program that will be visible at school and for the public. 4, you will follow a common weight training program for the athletic department during your season. Lifting during the season will be an expectation, and we will ask that you encourage your athletes to lift outside the season. We cannot require them to lift outside the season, but we hope that they continue their training outside the season. We firmly believe that being physically fit helps an athlete compete at an optimal level. And 5, we expect coaches to utilize the bigger, faster, stronger Bean 11 concepts and curriculum that you can see or will be found in the character file that was emailed to you previously. We also want you to know that our communication policy for parents and student athletes is they must talk to the coach first and foremost. They cannot circumvent talking to you and getting the ear of the athletic director and or school administration. If after that first meeting has taken place, there's still a concern, the next step would be for the parent, student, athlete, coach to meet with the athletic director and or building principal. We would all sit down together and talk about the issues again. Our goal here is that everyone is on the same page. They're hearing the information from you as a coach first and foremost before they have any conversation with school administration. Again, what can you expect from administrators? We will be a positive role model and ambassador for Oshkosh West High School. You can also expect administrators to trust coaches to do their jobs. We will trust you to do your job. You are the expert. We will trust you to do what is best for students. We will clearly communicate our expectations to you. We will support decisions when coaches have followed these expectations, meaning your decisions. We will have an open door policy for coaches to ask questions and or discuss concerns, meaning if you have a question, we will set aside the time to help you deal with that issue right away. And we will communicate with coaches if there are questions or concerns that we have, meaning we will keep you in the loop and not drop something on you that's unexpected after the fact. So again, as I mentioned, I'm sorry the slide was a little late. We expect our coaches to live the vision statement, core values, and creed. Work with your athletes to create goals for your program. I will be emailing you a BFS goal form. We will expect you to follow a common weight training program and lift weights during the season. If your kids are enrolled in the strength and conditioning classes, they will take care of that requirement then. And we will expect you to utilize the bigger, faster, stronger Bean 11 concepts and curriculum. So that's going to conclude this year's Coaches Online Coaching Meeting presentation. On behalf of Oshkosh West High School, the administration, and the athletic department, our sincere thanks to you for getting involved as a coach here at Oshkosh West High School. We appreciate all you do for the athletic department. We appreciate the time, dedication, and sacrifice you and your family make. And we also greatly thank you for helping make a difference in the lives of our student athletes here at Oshkosh West. Go Wildcats and make it a great year.